Welcome to this live stream, sort of sudden live stream here on the pen. Welcome. If you're just joining here, I'm Dave Knapp, man on the Mounjaro. That's why I'm here. You are on the pen. Wegovy, Saxenda, Victoza, Trulicity, Mounjaro, Zepbound, Compound. And Compound is sort of the topic of the day today. That's what we're going to be discussing tonight. There's some breaking news this evening in the world of compounds that I wanted to bring to you all right away. But before we get into it, I want to say hello to Tay, Rez, Ninja, Chris, Deborah, Christy, Sandra, Matt, Ben, BJ. How are you, buddy? Good to see you. Hillary, AJ, good to have you here. Melody, if you're just jumping in here, hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button. And if you're not subscribed on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button down below this video. About 35% of the folks that watch these videos don't subscribe to our channel, and we'd like to get that to like 80% of the people that watch these are subscribed at least. So thank you for being here, Woody. Good to see you here. So let's get into the breaking news tonight. This has sort of been unfolding today. And if you are subscribed to email alerts at onthepen.com, you may have already seen the article about this. But just a little plug to jump over to onthepen.com and subscribe to email alerts. But hit the subscribe button here, then jump over to onthepen.com. All you have to do is scroll to the bottom of the website, and it takes 2 seconds. You sign up, and then you'll have all the news as it happens. And so breaking news tonight. So what's happening? So we've been following the saga in the compound tirzepatide trial. Of course, we had some big updates today. If you didn't catch the podcast, check out the podcast. We give you the whole rundown. We did some videos yesterday. Not going to rehash all that because we've done a lot of content on it. But essentially, the FDA affirmed the tirzepatide shortage, which puts compounds in peril. And what we've been predicting all along, this is sort of along the lines of what we expected to happen. But what we saw this evening from now multiple telehealth companies, the 3 telehealth companies specifically that wish to kind of just lay low, have sent us copies of cease and desist letters sent out from Eli Lilly. So we've been predicting that this would happen once the FDA validated the shortage. We kind of knew that come the first of the year, there would probably be another deluge. This is how they've operated, is they basically sent out these cease and desist letters to basically put telehealth companies on notice. So it is definitely in step with the way that they have been acting right in the past. So it's not any real surprise. But essentially what we're seeing here is we're seeing that Lilly is leveraging their legal might against compound, providers, telehealth companies of compound tirzepatide. And so will this change the timeline? I don't think so. This is so Rez says, is this a repeat of the previous letter sent out back in December? This is not. This is a fresh round of cease and desist letters. So we're going to get into what the letters say. We're going to get into all that. But if you're not subscribed here, I know many of you are coming from other platforms. Please hit the subscribe button on YouTube. So Eli Lilly, their lawyers are on a warpath again. They've issued a fresh round of cease and desist letters to telehealth companies in the wake of December 19th, 2024's declaratory order. That order officially marked the end of the tirzepatide shortages, signaling the end of regulatory leniency for compound pharmacies that had stepped in to fill the gap during the supply crunch, a supply crunch that many of us would say still exists. Drop shortage in the chat if you have dealt with shortages of branded Mounjaro or Zepbound in the last 30 days. Curious to hear. So Lilly's moving swiftly now that this is sort of set in stone from the FDA to reassert their dominance over the market of tirzepatide with Mounjaro and Zepbound. So essentially, Kirkland and Ellis LLP, which is the big law firm used by Eli Lilly and all this, big heavy hitters in the legal world. They don't really pull any punches. In the letter, they open with a pointed reminder of the FDA's recent declaration that the shortage is indeed over and compound tirzepatide products, quote, have not been shown to be safe and effective, while offering, quote, fewer assurances of manufacturing quality. What's the translation there? Basically, the safety net that compounders relied on is going away in the view of Eli Lilly, and any continued production or sale beyond the deadlines that the FDA has laid out would be a violation of federal law. Again, this is Eli Lilly's words inside of these cease and desist letters. Eli Lilly's legal team underscores the FDA's limited grace period, which offers 60 days for state licensed pharmacists and physicians and 90 days for outsourcing facilities. They're the ones who are bringing the lawsuit in federal court in Texas to wind down their tirzepatide operations. This window is framed as a one-time courtesy to help patients transition from FDA approved alternatives to FDA approved alternatives like Mounjaro and Zepbound, not a free pass to keep compounding indefinitely. So these are, again, this is sort of Lilly's stance in the letter sent out to these telehealth companies. The FDA's December order was clear. The quote from that is overly long period enforcement discretion that they're offering for compounded drugs that mimic the approved ones is unacceptable. Eli Lilly's letter hammers this point home, making it clear that any compounder continuing to operate after the grace period risks not only regulatory enforcement, but also legal action from Lilly itself. For pharmacies and outsourcing facilities, the message framed by Lilly's legion of legal counsel is unmistakable. Compound tirzepatide's time is nearly up. But this is where it gets interesting, right? Because many are questioning whether these letters serve more as a scare tactic than a practical enforcement measure. Why? Because telehealth companies primarily facilitate prescriptions. They're not the actual source of the compound tirzepatide. That responsibility falls squarely on pharmacies that produce and fill these prescriptions. So in essence, it's like targeting the branch and leaving the roots untouched. It raises the question, are 503B compound pharmacies specifically tasked with higher production? Are they also receiving these threatening letters? Are 503A pharmacies receiving these letters? Additionally, the letters demand that all patients transition to branded options, but it seems almost inconceivable that Eli Lilly could suddenly just accommodate millions of new patients without creating fresh supply issues. But the issue is, I believe, and I think you'll probably agree with me, put agree in the comments, I would believe that we're pretty much done seeing honest reporting of the shortages. So in other words, will, hundreds of thousands, millions of patients potentially switching to the more expensive branded versions cause new shortages? I'd undoubtedly believe that it will, but I don't think we're going to see it pop up back on the shortage list. Those are two very important distinctions. And so this is obviously a development that we expected to see from Eli Lilly tonight. This is not surprising to anybody, but it does telegraph sort of where we're at in all this. And I think that we could be really coming between the news from the Outsourcing Facility Association's lawsuit and this news here. I think we could really start to see the clamps put down on these companies, because again, people have always asked me, well, won't compounds continue to exist because they'll just add B12 or they'll add they'll offer non-commercially available doses. And I would tend to agree with that. But what's going to happen, because this is Lilly's pattern of behavior, is that cease and desist letters will go out to all of those doctors who are prescribing this. Why would they do that, Dave? Well, the reason is, and some might argue that they have grounds to say so, is that if everybody right now is tolerating the doses that are commercially available, and all of a sudden a doctor is writing thousands of prescriptions a day, declaring essentially that all of his patients require non-commercially available dosing, Lilly's going to have a major problem with that, claiming that that's not in the spirit of the law of how 503A pharmacies are supposed to act. So it will come down to whether or not those 503A pharmacies are willing to essentially continue to prescribe, or those doctors moreover, are willing to prescribe that when their license is being dangled in front of their head or lawsuits are being dangled in front of their face. It's going to be very interesting, and nobody at this point really knows. Will that be a long-term solution for those who are relying on the more affordable versions of tirzepatide, the compounded versions? Because the 503Bs, what we've known up until now, right, which is tirzepatide aplenty in the form of compounds, is not going to be the same, because 503B, we talk a lot about outsourcing facilities. They're called that because they're factories. They can crank out thousands and thousands and thousands of scripts with machines, where 503A pharmacies are individual pharmacists holding an individual script and manually filling a medication. The volume is not going to be able to sort of keep up, right? And that's all whether or not these doctors are willing to prescribe it even. And I think that's going to be the big question. So are custom formulations or tirzepatide plus B12 a good long-term solution? I don't know. I don't think anybody really knows the answer. Theoretically, maybe. But in practice and in reality, when cease and desist letters are flowing and your livelihood, that you use as a doctor to provide for your family is sort of staring you in the face with one of the scariest law firms in the country and one of the largest companies in the world, on the planet, threatening their legal might, I think that's a whole nother question. So with that, I'm going to open this up for any questions that you may have tonight. Obviously, this is not again, news that anybody wasn't expecting, but I think a good opportunity for us sort of gathered together to just kind of discuss and maybe vent and let our frustrations out, because honestly, it's a very frustrating place for patients to be in who have relied on these options. Laura said, they change people's lives and then they take it away. Many people just can't afford the name brand. Yeah, that is the unfortunate case. Lights out as it stands is March 19th for 503Bs. 503Bs is essentially March 19th. 503As sort of have that leeway until a month previous. So that'll be kind of what we see there. GLP-1 Real Talk, please go over and give my dear gracious friend Kelly a follow over here on YouTube. GLP-1 Real Talk. Kelly is a wonderful creator and a great friend. So thanks for being here tonight. Do you know which telehealth companies receive the letters? They don't want us blasting out their names, but I can tell you with confidence, it was probably every single one of them. I don't think they missed anybody on this one, regardless of what they say. I missed it. What happened? Sorry, the chat's moving a little bit quickly. Yeah, cease and desist letters were sent out by Eli Lilly today to telehealth providers. Interestingly, we don't hear from compound pharmacies that they've received these. That's interesting to me. Do they have records proving people can't tolerate specific doses? That will be some documentation that they'll be required to sort of fill out. Some of them are already baking that into their questionnaires, right? Whether that'll be enough that the doctor feels like they can defend it, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't think anybody knows with great confidence. If you are a doctor and you're in the chat tonight, please let us know how you feel about that. Would you feel comfortable continuing to prescribe compounds if you were receiving cease and desist letters from Eli Lilly saying, why do all of your patients all of a sudden require non-commercially available doses or B12? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Do I think it'll be eventually cheaper by 2026? I think in a way, Rachel, I think that it could be. I think it could be in terms of insurance accessibility. So one of the points that is argued by Eli Lilly here is that because there is a plethora of compounded versions available on the market, there aren't as many people putting pressure on their insurance companies and their employers to cover the branded medication. So I think ultimately Eli Lilly's goal here is that if they successfully get rid of the bulk of the compounds that are out there, that people will then turn to their employers and say, you got to cover this. Or they'll turn to their insurance companies and they'll say, we've got to get these added to our formulary, and that pressure will be added. Pressure campaigns will be mounted. whether that happens, I don't know, right? Because we've seen the sleep apnea indication come along. I think it'll be interesting to see, like, how do insurance companies, how do employers weasel out of paying for that stuff? And so I think that is one of the things that we have to keep in mind. Yeah, let's keep it civil in the comments. I don't like mentioning any company specifically by name. Will telehealth companies still be able to fill anything after that date, or is compounding completely off the table? Again, we've kind of talked about it. 503As may be, custom formulations may be on the table for doctors willing to prescribe it if they feel like they have legal coverage, and they're not going to get their licenses yanked, right? Lilly's not going to go after them. Why do the cease and desist letters say they must stop? What date? Basically they just kind of follow along the length of time that the FDA has given for their enforcement period. And they've also said that the telehealth company should be using that as an off ramp, not as a time to just sell more compounds. Again, that's Lilly. Do Novo, Shira, thanks, or Shiria? I'm not sure I'm saying that right. Barron, I think I got that. Mr. Barron said, do we think Novo will follow suit based on the Lilly outcome? Well, Novo has already told us that their medications are commercially available. So we'll see about that. The FDA has to rule on that. Shy, how are you? Can't turn your volume. I'm trying to gather from the comments. We're talking about the cease and desist letters. You can check it out at onthepen.com. The article's up there. We've tried to pressure our companies and carriers, and it's still a hard no. Yeah, I believe that is making it difficult. Hang tight. Jessica, I think, is speaking for all of us here. She's so over it between Eli Lilly being greedy and companies are still not covering the meds. I'm exhausted. I think exhaustion is a huge one right here. I think that is you're saying what many people feel. Piggy, no more. Lilly is targeting telehealth for good reason, in Piggy's opinion. Probably not going to be a popular one here. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. They need to stop any new scripts of compounded. Again, Lilly can meet demand at current prices of 1.2K. There will be several folks that won't be able to pay the extra 1,000. I think that Biggie, if that could be the case, right? They could be able to serve the market. But I think objectively, if you're looking at this completely objectively, I think it's hard to imagine that in a world where people are still having shortage issues, drop shortage in the chat. If you're having issues finding your branded versions of your medication, it's hard to conceive that even a fraction, let's say 150, 200,000 increase per month over the next couple months as they wind this down, that they're going to be able to absorb that. I'm just not sure about that. But I appreciate the super chat, and I appreciate you giving your opinion tonight. Dave, thanks for your email. I was on live and immediately pivoted to talk about contacting insurance and employers. Yeah, I mean, that is where this battle is going, right? And I think rightfully so. I mean, we need insurance companies. We need employers to stop making excuses for not covering this medication. I mean, I don't care. I mean, the costs may be expensive, but listen, this is the free market. And if your employer isn't offering it, a smart employer somewhere that offers similar positions will, because they want to attract good talent. But there always seems to be a line when an employer doesn't want to pay for something. But it's always funny when the money appears for things that seem a bit more frivolous. That's just my take in my own personal experience. Let's see here. Thanks for updating me, although I don't know what these letters mean. Cease and desist letters are just legal flexing on Lilly's part. Why are they sending out letters if it's not the date to stop? I mean, they're just basically trying to use scare tactics. Do you think the judge will look down upon this? I don't think so. I think this is standard industry practice. I think that it's probably expected. Mimi, who is in the Retatrutide trial, had been on the Pen Live, which happens every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Central. She's been on a couple times. Novo lobbied the Australian government hard and managed to get all compounds banned there. Thank you for your contribution. I just hate it when affiliates say telehealth isn't going anywhere, and when something happens, they say y'all should have used common sense. Well, that is frustrating. You might want to take a look at the people that you follow if that's the information that they're giving you. What's your census on the outcome? The outcome on the trial? I think that this is probably going to land in Lilly's favor, in the FDA's favor. All the judges trying to rule on at this point is whether the FDA acted legally. And I think they did. I just think the system is broken. And I think the system needs to be overhauled, right? For Lilly Direct, can we use without insurance? Yeah. Lilly Direct, the vials, the 2.5 and the 5 milligram vials, as long as you have a script written, you can fill that through Lilly Direct. Of course, I work with Ro, who now offers the vials directly through their platform. The cash pay price is $3.99 for the 2.5, $5.49 for the 5 milligram as well. What are the alternatives, if any, for tirzepatide? It depends on what dose you're on. Semaglutide is a great option for many people. Heather, I see it. You get a $5 super chat. I don't know how far I am behind in the chat here. Probably quite a bit. Very difficult to try to keep up here. Ro was smart to partner with Lilly on the vials. I agree. But Shiria, if you could spell your name phonetically, I'll try not to screw it up again. I would say if you're on a low dose, you may look at semaglutide, potentially liraglutide, which is now there are two. So liraglutide is a daily GLP-1 that is available, and it's actually generic now, and there's two companies making the generic, and I would expect that the price over the next month here is going to drop down to around between $200 and $250. And that's without insurance or anything. So liraglutide might be good for people who are in maintenance. It might also be good for people who are on really low doses of the current, medications like semaglutide or semaglutide. They're holding out for the government mandate. Adrienne Gledhill. Adrienne, you give her a follow here on YouTube and all the places. Adrienne was our guest on the Pen Live this past week. Adrienne was a contestant on The Biggest Loser. Now she advocates for healthy, holistic healing through diet and movement, and she is a user of GLP-1s as well. But they're holding out for the government mandate insurance to pay their price, and we won't see it on the front end. It will be moved to us in the back end through taxes and premiums. They will take trillions. They will make a lot of money. That is for sure. I got to jump to the bottom here because there's just too many to keep up with. If you have a specific comment that you'd like me to see, drop it in a super chat because there's just too many for me to see here. Chris's response, semaglutide is a great option currently, but as Rez makes a point, it's probably going away too here soon. Maybe as early as next week is what I'm hearing. Does anyone know why they haven't released higher dose vials? Not yet. I think they will. I'm hopeful that they will. They need to release all the release all the vials. Drop release all the vials if you believe that's the least Lilly could do right now. Big thing at most insurance companies flip on January 1, so we cannot even ask our employer. This is super crazy. I mean, responsible creators have been telling people for ages, the time to lobby your employer is usually, in that late third quarter. That's when they're looking at the plans and making these decisions. But now is the time, right? There may be a gap, but there's no time like the present to broach that conversation. In fact, I have a article up at onthepen.com. You can use the search bar and search for it. Just search form letter in the search bar at onthepen.com. And I actually have a form letter that you can fill out and send to your employer to start the conversation because this is something we've talked about for 2 years here. Release all the vials. I love it. Release all the vials. Laura, I know. Laura begged her husband's employer to add it for 2 years, and they keep saying it's too expensive. Super frustrating. Bridge says, I can't even afford the first 2 vials, so releasing other doses will cost too much. Yeah, I know. For some people, it's just going to be unreachable, untenable, which is terrible. What you're thinking on Medicare coverage, any time frame? I'm hoping by mid-year. I'm hoping the Trump administration goes along with the changes that the Biden administration was looking at, and I'm hoping that, they go along with it, and I'm hoping that by mid-year we'll at least see expanded access on Medicare for obstructive sleep apnea, which Zepbound was approved for back in December of 2024 here, last year. And so I'm hopeful that we'll see expanded Medicare coverage that way. If not, I'm hoping to see potential. I'm hoping to see potentially that Medicare will actually cover weight loss medications. So yeah, we need them to follow through on that. I love that. Release all the vials. 100% agree. Will Eli Lilly provide another savings card? Of course they will. There are savings cards available for this year. They're good for those who have commercial insurance. They don't work if you have Medicare, but if you or government insurance, but if you have private insurance and you don't have coverage, $650 a month. If you do have coverage, you may pay as little as $25. The $650 card goes through June, and then they'll renew it for another 6 months. The $25 card goes to the end of the year. Biggie's back with a super chat, another $19.99 super chat. I appreciate it. Healthcare tied to your employer system is flawed. Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things, the biggest low-hanging fruit in insurance coverage is that we have to stop tying it to our employment. As Piggy said, remember, most employers are self-insured. So at the end of the day, they pay the bill. Contact your elected representatives and lobby to get the law changed. That is a huge, as a really excellent point. We talk about it every now and again here about how flawed the system is, having your insurance tied to your employment. Because the problem is, people stay with their employers for 2 years, 3 years. So then the insurance companies are looking at you as a very short-term patient. So they go, we'll pay for your GLP-1 for weight loss for the next 3 years, get you down to your goal weight, and then you're somebody else's healthier patient. That doesn't make sense for us, right? So the reason that the single payer countries sort of see the value intrinsically is they can arbitrate the cost down of these medications, where the arbitration of the cost of medications here happens between the PBMs and the pharmaceutical companies, right? And they keep the savings, where in the single payer countries, they arbitrate the cost, pass the savings along to their people, but they also see the importance of covering the medication, because they're thinking about the whole life of the person, how much it's going to cost to cover them for their life. Our system is concerned with how much it's going to cost to cover you for the next 2 to 3 years. They don't see beyond that window. So it's a really excellent point to bring up that our insurance being tied to our employment is a flawed thing. So yeah, super. We need PBM reform in this country in a major way. Of course, PBMs keep up to 70% of the cost of the prescription in the form of rebates. It's not just big pharma. We need some major PBM reform. I'm hopeful that this issue is on the radar of the incoming administration. You say what you will. I'm hopeful. I got to be hopeful. We got to be hopeful. We just really do. One of the interesting things about the PBMs, I'm gonna drop some truth on you. This was from Dr. Mike Albert the other day. This is a tweet from him. I retweeted it. If you're not following me on Twitter, if you're over there, I'm at Man on the Pen. I'm going to read this tweet from Dr. Albert because it was really good. I just have to pull it up. So give me 2 seconds here. He tweets a lot. Hang tight. Talk amongst yourselves. We drink coffee. We talk. Big whoop. Want to fight about it? Let's see here. Okay. The medical loss ratio, the MLR rule. I believe this was part of the Affordable Care Act, right? It mandates that insurance companies spend at least 80% of premium revenues on medical claims and quality improvements, or 85% for large group plans, leaving the remaining 20% or 15% for administrative costs and profits. Okay, are you with me? That means as part of the Affordable Care Act, it basically said, I think it was the Affordable Care Act. Somebody can fact check me on that. They have to spend 80% if they're a small insurer, or 85% if they're a large insurer, on paying out claims. They capped how profitable a insurance company could be. So pharmacy benefit managers are not subject to the same rule. So this creates an opportunity for insurance companies to own or partner with PBMs, enabling them to funnel profits through these entities. By shifting a significant portion of spending to PBMs via inflated drug prices and rebates, insurance companies can minimize insurance profits while still retaining overall profitability through their PBM operations. And if you look at the companies that own insurance companies, they also own PBMs and the payment processors. They've found a way to get their money back and then some. So the PBMs are the funnel by which insurance companies have skirted around the Affordable Care Act to fleece sick Americans. We don't take medicine in this country to not get sick. We take medicine because we're sick. So it's literally just designed to fleece sick Americans. And you know, the sentiment in this country is really, really, really boiling over. I'm going to be live with you for another 3 or 4 minutes here. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments here real quick. Make sure if you're not subscribed over on YouTube here, please subscribe. We have about 35% of the viewers that are viewers of the content over here are not subscribers. So we would love to have you subscribe over here. And then for those of you who would like to support the channel, go above and beyond, you can become a member for $2.99. I think there's a button down below. We do some custom members only videos and things like that. So it's a way to support the stream. Also, we have our book out, which is available at glpbook.com. glpbook.com. It is Decoding GLP-1. It's a guide for friends and family on the pen. If you yourself have had issues having those tough conversations about being on the pen with your loved ones, I literally wrote this book so you could read it, know everything you need to know, and then pass it on to them. It's very digestible. It's a short book by design because you don't want to give your loved one a big novel and 10 days worth of homework. You want to give them something that will very quickly be able to help them understand. That's what we do here at On the Pen. We take big ideas, big concepts meant for the medical world, meant for the investor world, and we bring it down into the patient format so that we can make sense of all the news and have more competent and confident conversations with our doctors, our medical providing team, our pharmacists, and now our loved ones. And that's what this book is all about. It's available at glpbook.com, glpbook.com. Thanks for the assist, Sabrina Ramos. I appreciate it. Welcome, Fit Flavor Fun. It's good to have you in the house tonight. Fit Flavor Fun is a contributor to On the Pen with her Reddit recap every week. Make sure you give Fit Flavor Fun a follow over here as well. I don't know if Corey's in the chat tonight. Corey is a contributor too, and more to come. What do we got, Piggy? Dave, keep up the war and stay positive. I appreciate that. You're a fantastic advocate for folks, and I appreciate the honest dialogue. I do think the fight is over, but the war is not. I appreciate that, Piggy, and I think that, first of all, thank you for the sentiment, and I agree. I think the fight over, if we're talking about the fight over compounds and accessibility, the battle over that, we're losing that battle right now. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But the longer play is the war. That's PBM reform. That is healthcare reform in general. That is getting our healthcare system decoupled from our employment. That is also, within the PBM reform, it's not enough. It's not enough. Because they'll find another way. We have got to find a way that our government can arbitrate the cost of these medications and pass the savings on to patients. Right now, it's just making rich people much, much, much richer. So thank you for the super chats tonight. I appreciate it. Thank you for the comments and the dialogue as well, and for the spinning me off on some, I think, really, really helpful topics tonight. Let's see here. AJ said, I just want to be highlighted. Thanks to D today to the VTD. Thank you, AJ. I appreciate that. Yusuf, a great member of our On the Pen, Tirzepatide for weight loss with Dave Knapp, whatever our big group over on YouTube or Facebook is called. Yusuf is a great contributor over there. Yusuf, thanks for being here with us tonight. Drop it in the comments, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from tonight. I know a lot of you are watching on X. I think at one point we were over 400 people on the stream tonight. So thank you for being a part of this. It's another call to go over to onthepen.com really fast, scroll to the bottom, and take 10 seconds to sign up for email alerts, because honestly, you would have had this in your inbox earlier. Sabrina said, Dave, there was a super chat. Do you think if we were to actively post to Eli Lily's X account and other social media requesting them to release all the vials, it would be helpful? It can't hurt. It can't hurt. I think they need to know that we're serious about it. I think the Release the Vials campaign got a lot of attention. It got the media talking about it. I mean, if we can get the media talking about it, that is a big deal. And so that's why I say, if we use the hashtag, that stuff gets the media's attention. So hashtag release all the vials, no matter what platform you're on. X is a great platform because it's hard to miss it. Even if you have a big account, it's hard to miss people tagging you with a specific thing. And a lot of the members of the media are over there too. So yeah, I don't think it can hurt. Will it help? I'm not sure, but I don't think it can hurt. That's why I always remind people to use the hashtag release all the vials. I tell people to use the hashtag PBM reform, all of them. So thank you. Thank you for that reminder. And thank you for highlighting somebody's super chat that I missed. I apologize to whoever's super chat that I missed. The chat was moving very, very quickly tonight. There's another comment from Piggy. Hopefully the other groups, cancer, HIV, pain meds, have some similar in their corner. These drugs generally start at $2,000, $4,000, and $6,000 a month. I mean, one of the things that got me fired up about this topic kind of that we're on tonight was long before GLP-1s. That's why I get fiery when I talk about this. My wife has rheumatoid arthritis, and the medication that she's on is several $1,000s a month. And we have had to fight every single time. We were with an employer one time who just went back and forth between different healthcare companies. And every single year we had to fight for that medication. Every single year. And the medication was the only thing keeping her poor body from deteriorating. She's got juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. She's been dealing with it since she was 10 years old. And so as long as I have known her, as long as we've been married, which is a long time, we're married in 2008 now, a lot has happened between now and then, but we have had to fight and fight and fight and fight. This is not just a GLP-1 obesity management or diabetes management fight. This is everyone's fight, because oncology medicines, as Piggy points out, oncology medicines, HIV, pain meds, rheumatoid arthritis, any chronic disease, medicines are extremely, extremely expensive. And the difference is, some forms of cancer are extremely rare. Some forms of chronic disease are extremely rare. So you sort of understand in the system, like there's no incentive to develop those drugs. That's why many of them are so exorbitantly expensive. But with obesity, there's enough people who would benefit that we could do a volume pricing, right? We don't have to get greedy with it. There's enough people to make those companies enough money. It's just, how do we make more of it? And I think that it would be great if Eli Lilly could partner with 503Bs and give them the recipe for their exact tirzepatide, charge them a licensing agreement, something. There's got to be something in here where at the end of the day, patients win, there's more medicine, and it's cheaper. I don't know. The system is so broken. The system is so terribly broken. And the people that suffer the worst are the people who are the sickest. And it just shouldn't be so. It shouldn't be so. It doesn't need to be so. Rez, the $4.99 super chat. I have rheumatoid arthritis, and my rheumatologist has had to fight every step of the way. It's wrong to charge this much for medication. And it's wrong to bog rheumatologists down, or any specialist down, with the cumbersome paperwork that it takes to help patients too, because all that overhead costs doctors money and time. And there's already a shortage of specialists. There's no rheumatologists in the city that we're in. We're in a city of 150,000 people, and there's no rheumatologist here. We drive an hour away to see a rheumatologist. There's not enough of them. So why are we bogging them? A system that bogs a rheumatologist, somebody who spends, 15 years of their life in school, or however long they're spending, and untold amounts of money. Why are we bogging their time down with prior authorizations? It shouldn't be so. We don't have enough of these people in the first place. So Great points, excellent points brought up tonight. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. If anybody else has any question, please drop it now. We're going to jump off here. We've gone about 40 minutes here on a Tuesday night, not a night we're normally live streaming, and in a day that was packed full of news. I think I have 3 videos up on YouTube alone today. It was just a wild day. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being the best part of what we do at On the Pen. We will continue to fight this battle. 2025 is a fight for accessibility. And one of the things that I'll just, I've been casting a vision for On the Pen this year. And like last year, I think we achieved a lot of stuff without even dreaming big. I had no big dreams for the year last year, and we accomplished a ton last year at On the Pen. I'm dreaming bigger for this year, and I'm really hoping, believing, praying that we On the Pen will have a seat at the table with some of the people who are making decisions very high up in the government this year about accessibility to GLP-1 medicines. I firmly believe that that can happen. It's going to take you all and your connections and, somebody out there making the connection of On the Pen with those people. So like, save, share, do all the things, use the hashtag release all the vials, hashtags, but I can already see it in my mind's eye. We are going to be having conversations with people who make big decisions in this country. I just believe it. I declare it. And because we're just going to do big things this year, and we're going to make accessibility better to the treatments that are changing lives. So we fight on, and we'll do it together. Make sure you subscribe over on YouTube. Make sure that you sign up for email alerts at onthepen.com. That's where the bulk of the battle is being waged this year. Will be on YouTube and from our email list. So thank you, Donna, for subscribing to the email list, Joe for subscribing, Jeanette, Paul, Julie, everyone who subscribed during the live stream here. So thank you very much. Yes. So, thank you. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for thanking me. Thank you for just being such a wonderful community. Hit the thumbs up before we leave tonight, if you would. Consider sharing this somewhere where people talk about this stuff. I appreciate you hanging out with me tonight. Thank you, especially to the members of the channel who make this thing go round. Until next time, I hope you have a great evening. We've got a great week coming up here at On the Pen. Our live happens every Thursday night. I hope you'll check that out. We have had 95 episodes. If you just want to watch the On the Pen lives, the show that we have 95 episodes of, you can just go to onthepen.tv. They're all on the list there. So type onthepen.tv in your browser. It'll take you right there. But thank you for being here. I hope you have a great night. Appreciate y'all.